Here we are in the Prairie Orchard. It's April 11th. Doing a little workout in the orchard, and here I am next to this, what I think is a Anjou pear. It was sold to us as a Basque, but it's been producing fruit that looked nothing like a Basque pear. It's now about 8.5 feet tall, and looks like we're going to have some fruit again this year. Really nice bud right here. Fruit buds on that branch, and then up higher there. We'll just have to keep an eye on this tree, make sure the wasps, which got into some of the fruit on this tree last year, don't damage all the fruit. I was a little bit lenient on them last year, but we'll have to try and keep them away. And that's the first in our row of pear trees that's down the way here. Our next one here, as you guys have seen before, is our white doyen, which also is sporting some really beautiful fruit buds here. And then on down, the jargonelle, and the rest of the pear trees. Lots of wildlife out this time of year. It's a beautiful sunny day, probably about 65 degrees. Sasha's running wild and enjoying it. Planted a couple trees today, and I'm going to show those to you in a second. Before I show you the trees that I planted, I wanted to just show you some of these other pear trees down the line. This one here is our Dana Hovey, which is a colonial pear tree, a colonial American pear tree. And we might very well have our first pears this year on this tree. As you can see here, this is a branch that actually has some leaf buds on it. Sort of pointy, thinner leaf buds. And then compare that to the bud that's down here coming off the trunk, which is right here. That bud is nice and fat, and it looks very much like a fruit bud. So we'll see if it flowers, and if it flowers, maybe it'll get pollinated. On the back side we have at least one more over this way, but it looks like a couple more fruit buds over there. So excited to see that. Here on the end of the pear line is a pear tree called the All Day Carm. And this was grown by monks either in France or in Belgium. I'm really glad to see that it's got some nice robust buds on it. You can even see them here at the top of the tree. Nice buds there. Because basically about 2 years ago, 2 springs ago, after its first winter here on the prairie, it had been beaten down by, I think, the cold and died down almost to the ground. Had a small sprout on the side, and over the past 2 years it's made a recovery, and now it's only about 4.5 feet tall, but it looks like it's going to make it, and it's endured 2 of the coldest winters we've had in a while. So I'm hoping that we're in good shape from here on out with the All Day Carm apple. Hey Sasha. These images here in the foreground of this red Bartlett pear tree demonstrate the differences between leaf buds and fruit buds. As you can see, the fruit bud is rounded, more robust than the leaf bud. Leaf bud is smaller and pointier as opposed to round and robust. You can even see some of the color here in the flower that is hidden in that fruit bud. So in taking stock of the fruit buds on this red Bartlett, it looks like we have a few. There's a couple more right up here. 1, 2, 3 maybe. So they're scattered around this tree, although not in the density that I would have hoped. And I guess I wonder if the red Bartlett just is not as productive as the typical green Bartlett. Right next to our red Bartlett is our green Bartlett. As you can see, just by scanning this tree pretty quickly, there are a fair number of these big bulbous fruit buds scattered throughout this tree. Let's see if we can get that. Many more than on the red Bartlett. And then you have a lot of these leaf buds, of course, there to supply the energy. Another fruit bud there. So it does seem the green Bartlett is more productive than the red Bartlett. I planted 3 new trees today. This one here is Golden Grimes, a historic southern apple, very popular in the 19th century. And then another 2 I'm going to show you in a second. I just want to point out that I planted this one pretty deep. This is on dwarfing rootstock, but I buried the graft joint. And if you do that, then roots come out above the graft joint, and the tree grows as a seedling apple tree. So it's going to be some years before I have apples from this particular tree, but I want a sizable tree over here on one side of my garage. The second apple tree I planted is up here near the road. This is a Canadian strawberry apple tree on Antonovka rootstock. I actually planted it nice and deep with the graft joint between the Canadian strawberry and the dwarf rootstock, well below soil level, so as to generate a seedling apple tree. This is going to be a large apple tree like the Golden Grimes or the Grimes Golden. It's going to be probably 10 years before it begins to produce, but I do want a large apple tree out here near the road. The last tree I planted this weekend is this Aromatnaya Russian quince. This is not a heritage quince. This is something that's been bred over the past several decades in Russia, but this quince produces some sweet quince that are edible even fresh. Quince is usually too stringent to be eaten fresh and is most often included in pies and in jams, but this one apparently you can eat fresh, as in salads. So that's the last tree of the weekend. Come on, bring your friend. Hey, good doggy.